Well, folks, we've got big breaking news for you today. It's a big flashing bulletin on every entertainment site I go to. And is this about a new movie or TV show coming out? No, it's not. It's actually about the death of Matthew Perry. There was a lot of mysterious things surrounding it, a lot of questions and possible conspiracy. And it sounds like there actually was. Was it the conspiracy everyone was expecting? It sounds like not, or at least that's the story that's being presented. So we're going to go ahead and dig into that. Also, a little tidbit that I wanted to mention about the new Rings of Power show. And we've got more casting on the Masters of the Universe movie that's upcoming with Amazon. So let's go ahead and do this. As always, make sure to visit criticalist.com and subscribe, comment, like, all that fun stuff as well. It helps us a ton. And when you're visiting criticalist.com, make sure to drop a review because that's what we are, an entertainment reviewing platform. So we're talking about Matthew Perry today. If you were a fan of Friends, then make sure to go ahead and leave a review for it because I don't know if I've actually even seen any. If we have some, then I need to go digging for it. Granted, I've never been a big Friends fan. That is a mouthful to say, both of those words together, a little bit difficult. Anyways, let's get on to business. Let's talk about this breaking news with Matthew Perry because this is wild. Now, check out this title here. Check out the headline. 5 people charged, including 2 doctors in Matthew Perry's overdose death, U.S. attorney says. Now, this has been, it says update here because I've been hitting refresh and just watching. I didn't want to run the news until I felt like most of it was out, and it sounds like it is, and this is pretty wild. Now, if you were not paying attention to this case when it happened and when Matthew Perry passed, there were just a lot of weird, suspicious things. There was conspiracy speculated, and it sounds like this is a bit of a conspiracy, and I think in the article it literally calls it that. But the interesting thing is it's not the conspiracy that everyone is expecting. Now, as a proper conspiracy theorist, then the first thing you would do is question the official narrative. This is officially the official narrative, so is this the truth? Time will tell, I guess, which when it comes to conspiracies, quite often, we never know. But, I mean, this is getting legal. This is interesting, and maybe this is a cover-up for something larger. Who knows? I mean, like I said, as a proper conspiracy theorist, that's what one would claim. But I'm going to go ahead and dig into what Deadline is reporting here. So it says 5 defendants have been charged in connection with the ketamine-related death of actor Matthew Perry. U.S. Attorney Martin Estrada announced Thursday during a news conference in LA. So that was the other big thing is I was waiting for this news conference to happen because some of this was trickling out before it happened. It says the 5 include a live-in assistant, 2 doctors, and a woman known as the Ketamine Queen. Now, what a freaking nickname that is, the Ketamine Queen. So Estrada says the defendants are part of a broad underground criminal network that supplied ketamine to Perry and others, Estrada says. He says the suspects took advantage of Mr. Perry's addiction issues to enrich themselves. 2 of the 5 have been arrested. So there's the Ketamine Queen here of North Hollywood and Dr. Salvador Placencia, and they call him Dr. P. So everybody's got nicknames around here, apparently, in Santa Monica. Both are expected to be arraigned later today at U.S. District Court in downtown L.A. The others are Eric Fleming, of 54, of Hawthorne, who pleaded guilty on August 8th to 1 count of conspiracy, there we go, to distribute ketamine and 1 count of distribution of ketamine resulting in death, admitting that he distributed the ketamine that killed Perry. According to prosecutors, also charged is Kenneth here, who's of Toluca Lake, and Perry's live-in assistant, who allegedly conspired with the doctor and Fleming and the others to illegally obtain the ketamine and distribute it to Perry. So basically, they all got together and basically were just digging him for money, getting him addicted, and just kind of working him over. I'm guessing that this death was not in the cards or planned and not what they wanted because they were probably trying to milk him for everything he was worth. And so basically that's the long and short of what has happened with this. Estrada said that the doctor supplied Perry with a large amount of ketamine and even wondered in a text message how much of the former Friends star would be willing to pay. So these doctors, this live-in assistant, this other dude who I'm guessing is a dealer of some sort, they basically all conspired to get money from him. Now, the interesting thing here and why it jumped out at me is because when this death first happened, there was a lot of strange things surrounding it. And because people started digging through his social media and he was calling himself Matman, and he was having this extreme obsession with Batman to the point in which he posted a picture of him watching the Batman. He projected a Batman symbol onto his pool. Then there was this weird deal with him taking these supposedly these berries, but people were wondering if they were cranberries, and then something called a baneberry, which could potentially kill you. There's a pumpkin with a bat on it. I mean, all of this was really odd. And then basically he did a post of him in the tub, or in the tub, in the pool where he passed away. And claimed, made some post like, "I am Matman." And so people were just really wondering if this was all leading up to, especially with Batman being at the core of this. Batman is, this avenging knight, this character who, rights wrongs and all of these things. And they were wondering if he knew something. There was even questions about Epstein and all sorts of things as to if maybe he knew something and they offed him. So, I don't know. As a proper conspiracy theorist, like I said, one could always speculate that there is a deeper story to this than even the main one that's being told. But right now, this is what we're finding out. And there are people that are severely going to be punished for this, I am sure, especially with these doctors being involved. This is kind of wild, and the fact that they were just leaning into this, it's definitely a pretty big story, and I'm curious to see if much else comes out of it. But honestly, this will probably be about the last we'll hear. We might end up hearing something about people going to jail or finally being convicted for it. But this is really wild. I'm interested to hear all of you guys' thoughts, and if you were curious about it when he died, because a lot of people were. But that's the news, guys. That's what's going on. 5 people charged, 2 doctors, and his live-in, helper. And this is just a real mess. And I hate it. He was a lot of people really loved Matthew Perry. Like I said, I was not a big Friends fan back in the day. Still don't really care a ton about the show, but a lot of people do. A lot of people love those actors and everybody involved with that show, and it is just a real shame. Nobody wants to see a loss of life, and especially in this kind of way. So this is just not great, and I'm glad that some people are being convicted for the abuse that was being, done to him. Clearly, they were just trying to get everything they could out of him. So this is a real bummer. On to the next piece of news, though, is that Amazon is going to launch a Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power Season 1 for free on Samsung TV in what they're calling a viewership push. Now, one could speculate that this isn't just a simple viewership push because a whole lot of folks really did not like this show. This show is not doing great. Amazon paid a whole lot of money for this property, dug in real deep for the story, and really let's be honest, they didn't do a great job. What's happening over there is not great for this show. If you're a big hardcore, Lord of the Rings fan, there's a strong chance you're not going to like this. If you're not into the girl bossing hard, then you're definitely not going to like this, because that is at the core and its entirety what the show is, and it's just really kind of a mess. I'm not a fan. If you like it, no hate. I'm not here to disparage anybody who's into this show, but I think that this feels a little desperate. And it basically just says Amazon is making a big attempt to pull in more viewers. Shock, considering the viewership was not great on this show. For The Lord of the Rings of Power, ahead of the big budget series Season 2 premiere, by offering the first season up for free on Samsung devices. Beginning today, the 8-episode first season of the show will stream on Samsung TV Plus, a free ad-supported streaming platform that comes pre-installed on Samsung TVs and Galaxy devices. The first season will be available August 15th through 28th, just ahead of the August 29th premiere. So if you weren't paying attention, Season 2 is around the corner. And this is going to be probably the Acolyte level grift for a lot of folks. People are going to really lean into grilling this show because they hated Season 1, and they're probably going to watch this one and hate watch it as well. Which is, hey, to each their own. And if you haven't seen this, I am curious your thoughts. Feel free to go check it out and leave your review within Criticalist. I like I said, I wasn't crazy about it. Now, granted, I wasn't in like criticalist scale level, like heinous bottom of the barrel. Like this was not as bad as the Acolyte. It's just which it's very very hard to be as bad as the Acolyte or something like the new Borderlands film. That's just a hard level to to achieve. But I'm still not a fan of this, and I'm curious as to what happens with this season two. But if I were a betting man, it is probably not going to get a season three. I mean, who knows? Maybe it could, but that seems a little wild considering how poor the reception was and continues to be for this show. But this just feels a little desperate. It feels a wee bit desperate for them to just be offering an entire season up for free, and they're just trying to drum up viewers however they can and possibly get paid by Samsung a little bit to let them do it. So I am interested to see what plays out with the rest of the series and what the opinions are after the show hits. So last little piece of news, nothing massive, but it is some casting news for the Masters of the Universe film. Now, I am really curious how this film's going to turn out. I don't want to say I'm excited. I am tentative at best. I hope it is good. I think He-Man is really cool, and I think a live-action film could be really neat. And this movie, we regularly talk about things being in development hell. This one takes the cake just about. This thing has been bouncing around all over the place. So many people cast, so many people dropped, and directors and writers and everything else. And it was one of the earliest stories that we did on this channel when I talked about He-Man actually being cast. And now we have another character cast, which is the character of Teela, and it's going to be Camila Mendez. So Camila Mendez, if you don't recognize her from the photo, she's in the show Riverdale, which I actually liked fairly well for the early seasons, and basically they're saying that she has been tapped to star in this role, and she's going to be next to Nicholas Galanze. I'm not entirely sure how to say his name, but he is he's one of these up and coming younger actors, and they've cast him for this role. Have seen pictures of him and kind of seen him around a little bit. I don't think he's the best choice, but I'm not here to judge. We have been surprised about casting many times, but in good ways, but also like Borderlands, surprised in very negative ways as well. So we'll see what he does with He-Man, and we'll see how she does with Teela. Now the interesting thing is, if you know Teela from the originals, she was a redhead. She was quite fair complected. And then basically in the newer things, they've given her kind of this weird like side shaved butch cut thing going on here. For a little bit, she had regular hair, but everything about the newer Masters of the Universe has not gone over extremely well. And I'm curious to see if this is more of a newer depiction or if they are going to go ahead and give Camilla, the red hair and lean into that. But it just it is interesting because the whole redhead thing and Hollywood and them just really trying to fully get rid of redheads as a whole. It's really weird, and it seems to be happening in all these genre things. And this, to a degree, feels like more of the same. But it also feels like they're just leaning into what they have already been doing with the newer Masters of the Universe stuff. And I mean, this is no hate on her. I think she's actually quite a good actress. She's very nice to watch on screen. I like her. I liked her in that show. So we'll see. The jury's out, but I am curious to see how this movie goes. And they said in here, I did not realize this, but they said the announcement comes a few weeks after it was announced that she is also going to be starring in the I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot. I did not know that was happening, and I am a little bit curious about that. And I mean, she's a really solid actor, and I hope. I hope this movie the best, and I hope it's good, but I'm also not going to hold my breath. So, guys, that's going to be it for the news today. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this stuff down below. I'm really interested to hear everybody's thoughts, especially about the Matthew Perry conspiracy. And this news is just really crazy. But at least they showed up today. They gave us something to talk about a little bit. And until tomorrow, we will actually, so it's Thursday. So we will actually be checking out Alien Romulus tonight, and our review will be dropping for you tomorrow. So make sure to drop your Alien Romulus reviews within Criticalist if you are going to plan on seeing them, and watch out for our review to drop on the channel as well for our Criticalist Cast on Hinge show. I'm really excited about this movie and pretty hyped to watch it, and I want to know everybody's thoughts. It's sounding like the buzz is fairly good thus far, which is a good sign. So, until tomorrow when our review drops, and then I will be back for the news on Monday. This was a blast as always. You guys take it easy. Keep it real. We'll talk to you soon.